Welcome, welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to share with you our knowledge that goes beyond accounting. So it's always we got a couple tricks up our sleeve, so we like to share all that fun stuff. So give it a couple another couple seconds, and then we will go ahead and jump in. Anybody, is there anyone that's currently using Google Workspace right now within their business? Yes, no, maybe so. All right, sounds good. Thank you. So if you know this is that whole, that old trick. If you heard some of this before, you can just kind of get yourself something to drink or whatnot. But there are some things that we have been utilizing within Google Workspace. And to kind of kick it off, for those of you that don't know, I'm Amy, and this is Rochelle, or
Hello.
Rachel is also what she tends to get called.
Raquel.
Yeah, I can't mess up my name. That's you get all of them. So, but we have been using Google Workspace more in depth, probably within the last year, I would say.
Yeah.
It just made sense. We have found that there's a lot of different apps within the program, within Google Workspace, that actually solves a lot of our problems. So, for example, everybody knows email. Everybody is pretty much familiar with the Gmail format, but within Google and the Google Workspaces and the Gmail, there are some extra little fun things. So I'm going to share my screen to show you one of them right now. We have, hopefully I can see, all right, so we have, this is my email. Usually I have my calendar that's automatically showing. So this gives me a synopsis of what's going on for my day, and I can very quickly scan through. But the email are, the ones that pop up, that show up here. These are just some of them. I have a very tidy inbox, which I know is Rochelle, this is her daily goal every day, is to get something, get it down to what? Get it down to under 50?
Yeah, I can't imagine, I can't even remember the last time mine looked like that.
Well, we'll get into the reasons why mine looks like this, and this is very much to help my ADHD brain focus. So some of the big things that ends up happening with, as we get different emails, is the item where you have to cancel within a couple days. You get like a week to try something out, but then you have to cancel or you get charged. And you always get that follow-up email. Well, this isn't exactly that, but this is an example of an email that I had already looked at and realized that I don't really need to focus on this right now. But that whole thing that if you click it, you open it, it becomes, red, and then it also becomes out of our mind. So because of that, we are going to use this. I got some feedback, apologies. Because of that, we're going to use this little button here called snooze. So I want this to pop up again in the morning, so that way I can make sure that it is part of my focus time. So I'm going to hit the little clock button there and snooze until tomorrow morning. What's beautiful about this is you can pick the day and time. So if you do have one of those where you have to cancel or change your subscription, or say you need to adjust somebody's billing, and you get these emails, this applies to whatever email you have. This is a very easy way of sorting it into when do you need to focus on it. And so for me, I don't need to focus on it until tomorrow morning, but I also want to make sure it pops up. So something very simple and quick as easy as that with just the snooze is going to make sure that it shows back up for me again when I decide. What are some things that you use the snooze for with within your, I know you use VimCal.
Mhm. I mean, it's still pretty much the same, but, like, I will use it a lot of the time, like, one, if a client emails me and I have a meeting with them, relatively shortly, I will make it so that it comes up on the day that I meet with them, so I don't forget to address the question if it's, like, something that it's easier to talk through. Um, or, for example, like, I'll have a client that will be like, hey, we need to adjust this person's bill, on September 25th. Well, if I leave it in my inbox until September 25th, it's going to be way down at the bottom and it's never going to be remembered. And so I'll, use the snooze and like set it to come back maybe September 24th. And then that like allows me to like, oh, yep, now I remember I got to get that done and then get it like cleared out of my inbox.
Yes, because there's nothing more annoying than that same message. Like for me, I also have like my task to clip my cat's nails, every month. So that way I can make sure that they're not, scratching the crap out of my furniture. So, but anyway, so that's one of them there with the email. Another one that there's a bunch more and we'll recap later, but another one that we use quite often is the Google Drive. And Google Drive is a big network within Google where the whole team has access to the different files. So for example, when we use it, we access it or use it, we have each client is sorted. It has all of their, relative, documents that will help us be able to make sure that we can all receive it or we can all have access to it. So,
Well, and what's also really nice about Google Drive is that, like, if you're I mean, one, you can download it to your desktop, so you don't have to look at it online, and it can, be available for you to like work as you would if it was just like a drive on your computer. But like, if you're looking at it online, you can also see the last time it was modified, who is the last person who modified it, and for us, especially being able to uh, go back and look at different versions. So we did a workshop a couple of weeks ago, and I deleted a bunch of stuff and could not figure out where I had put it. And it was so nice being able to go back to a previous version of it fairly easy without like having to kind of do too much work. It's just, a simple right click, go to look at all versions, and then I can go back and like, oh, that's what looked like. And I can see who edited what in the meantime and when it was edited.
and one of the ways that you're going to be able to access this, I wanted to make sure I pointed it out. Right up here are, we have my honest book. This is letting me know that, I'm logged in as me. But these little dots here that pop up with your different apps, and they pop up typically in the order that you tend to use them the most frequently. So the Google Drive is going to be one that pops up just like this. And like Rochelle said, there is an extension for all of the different formats you use, whether it's Microsoft Edge, Chrome, Firefox, in which case it creates a little drive on your actual desktop so you can access the files right from your personal computer. And then as it connects to Google Drive, via Wi-Fi, it'll automatically update those same forms. The next one, let me pop back here and make sure I get let's see. Oh yeah, the calendar. Oh yeah, so we're going to talk about the calendar, which is one of my particular favorites. So I said here we have the calendar. I use my calendar on the right. When I pop it up, one of the things that we had to set up were appointments. So that way I can have conversations with clients potential clients, and I'm going to suggest this for you for parent tours. So the first thing that you're going to do when you pull up your calendar is when you come up here to the create, down to where it says appointment slots, and you're going to have to bear with me because I'm going to have to show you how it kind of changes. So you can create an appointment slot, but the new version, and hold on, now I'm having a brain fart. Discard, let's see here, is you have to change a setting within your calendar. And it's over here by appointment schedules. And the appointment schedules is where you will be able to create times where you can meet with parents, times for, dedicated for children's events or whatnot. So there's a bunch of different ones that you would create. And right here, you have to make sure you check that little box. It says create appointment schedules instead of appointment slots. Once you have that setting, then let's say I wanted to create some time at 6 a.m., between 6 and 7 a.m. because I'm crazy. It'll show up here as appointment schedule. And then this is where you can go through and create a new one. So I have one already set up from a previous when I was doing new client consults before I had to switch to a app. But this is an example of what that appointment schedule looked like. I could change my availability as far as repeat or not repeat. I can make it so that way I'm only doing scoping calls on certain days, and also certain time slots. And so when this is being used, that availability will show up on my calendar. So I'm going to go through and show you. So it's also letting everybody know this is Eastern time. You can adjust your scheduling window. When are you available? So I have start dates available right now from October 6th and ending on October 20th, and minimum time before the appointment can book. So this is another one to help you manage your schedule. You can adjust this down and say, all right, I'll take somebody within 4 hours. Change your individual date, its availability, and other booked appointment settings. This is giving 15 minutes in between appointments, and I will not do any more than 6. And you can change that. So like say we'll do 4 bookings a day, and then it will make that day go away when you have all 4 of those. It is going to check my calendar, but I can also have it check the team's calendar too. So you can adjust this and tailor this availability for maybe it's 2 of you. And then next, and I have a whole booking photo. You can change how you are going to meet, whether it's going to be in person, via online, booking form that you can add information that's important to you upon booking. So maybe you want to know who referred them, and that's one of the ones that we use is referred. Some new ones too are that there are payments that can be tagged within your calendar appointment. So if you require a $25, appointment, something, you can tailor this to your Stripe account. And there's other payment processors that you can set up. You just have to look in there. And what is your cancellation policy?
Yeah.
And booking confirmations and reminders. And so this will also email the individual a day before and 30 minutes before. And then when I hit save, that'll pop up there. So now, let me see if I can go into October. It'll let me do it. I think, where is I might have to find my booking appointment so you can see what it looks like, because now I'm having a brain fart. So bear with me here as I find this. But let's see here. Let me stop that share. All right. Do you want to do you have any fun tidbits about how you use Google Calendar?
I think the biggest thing for me is the ability to be able to see the whole team's calendars as well, be able to like look and see like, oh, this person is busy or like I can't schedule with them. But another thing that we do, let me actually open up mine. Please don't be terrified by my calendar. Oh, I can't share.
Go ahead.
Nope,
You should
sorry,
be able
1 second. Okay, let me try now. So share, oh, nope, it says it's disabled. Oh, I got it. I think now it's working.
Okay, awesome.
So I'm gonna share my screen. So like I can show, or I can see like my entire calendar here. Again, like she said, I can also add Amy's calendar in and be able to kind of view what her calendar looks like. But also we have a team calendar, and I'm gonna get rid of that. So anything that has like that the team needs to be aware of is on this team calendar, and everyone has access to it as well. So if we have a birthday, if we have our anniversary, if we have like a meet and eat that we're doing, anything like that, somebody's out of office, like all of that goes onto this team calendar. And then what we've done is we've actually added on this like out of office checklist that basically gives a list of everything that has to be done if you're going to be out of office. And so when somebody's putting their PTO on the team calendar, it's just right there and available, and they can see exactly like what our expectations are for them to go on PTO. So I think that's actually like my favorite thing about Google Calendars.
That is helpful just to have like a central, and I know too, like AELL has one too with the events, like you can connect with that one as well. So it's nice to have that all of it all together there. And I am having, of course, the biggest brain fart here to try to show you what my calendar looks like. So I'm gonna have to keep going forward, and I'll have to circle back around with that one. Let's see here on my notes of fun things, sites, Google Sites. So that is one that I know was a nice one that we thought we incorporated into our workshop recently as a great way to help with creating an onboarding setup, with having a location for your employees to be able to go on there and see what is the sick policy. They have a central access of like how to do certain processes. So the Google Sites, I'll pop that on here and show you ours. There it is. It's like a wiki. There it is. All right, so our Google Sites that we were able to create, we wanted something that was, not nearly as, structured like everything accounting is. We wanted something that was just like represented us as a whole. So we were able to customize this with, fun pictures. The team, we have it set up broken down that basically gives the organization chart of who is the one that is working within who else's team. And it really helps with seeing the visual with that. The other part is that our wiki, we broke it down with the different categories that would be important to our team. And then of course, within each of them, they have, different setups and processes. It is a set access point for all of our employees to be able to get the information they need. And for a lot of employees, not knowing where to get stuff, not knowing, you know, how to do something is often a complaint, or the comment that is left, they didn't really know what to do. So this gives one place for them to be able to access all the information, and it's searchable. So there is a search bar up here, and they can type in there anything. Let's say they wanted to see a financial statement. So there is a financial statement review that'll automatically take them to that setup, that process. Let's see here. I'm just gonna type in KPI. Oh, we don't have one for KPI. I'm trying to think of something else we can search. Payroll. So, and then we have, you know, ways to access that. It goes through, we have a payroll calendar. So it's really easy. And, you know, it's something, if you have somebody that is creative, you know, on your team, this is a good way to kind of like give them some fun ways to do that. And that is also under the Google Sites. So this is one way that you can generate something for your parents to be able to see each of the different classrooms and maybe some of the activities that your, you know, that your centers are doing, you know, a really unique way to share with, you know, those that matter. Anything you want? Did I cover the things that you thought were good?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because it is one of our fun ones that we do. We really do like being able to have that access point, and it does, you know, with as much as, you know, we change from different applications as they fit within our companies, you know, we have to go by what is financially feasible, what is the most efficient. Staying with Google just seems to have been a really good choice, just because it's no different than everybody's Apple products and how everything's all connected. So I did not forget about you. I'm glad you found it, Mrs. Gonzalez. I was going to say, I did not forget about you. There are easy ways to look that up and actually sync those too. And there is great Instagram. Oh my gosh, I'm going to age myself here. Some individuals that you can follow on Instagram. If you search Google Workspace tips, there's also a lot of interesting tidbits, especially dedicated to educators, that I found in there too. So, you know, look at the keywords, Google Workspace tips, and that will also kind of give you some extra little pieces of information. All right, let's see here. Google Groups. So basically, this is how we set up our emails. So, you know, when you have, you know, Mrs., you know, Judy that is maintaining the, you know, the 3-year-old classroom, but she's also in charge of, like, say, a little bit of like admissions training. You have different groups, different pods. I mean, there's so many different ways you can describe it, of groups of individuals where there's more than one person that is managing that. But instead of trying to figure that all out, you give it something really easy. So info@yourcenter.com is often used for everybody that is interested in your contact us. They hit your contact us. That's usually what it tends to go to. So the Google Groups is another way where you can add additional email settings, emails that you have. You can have a first grade, you know, I'm sorry, first grade, you know, 1-year-old classroom at yourcenter.com, and all of the teachers that are part of that 1-year-old classroom parent, you know, it is one email that can be used for the parents of that classroom. I'm hoping that makes sense. So you have an email what parents can email that will go to everybody that is part of that 1-year-old classroom. So this might be, you know, Mrs. Judy, this might be Miss Marcia, and this could be Mr. Brown. And so whoever is, you know, capable of being able to respond in a timely fashion can then respond. And then it's not each individual's email. So it helps to kind of like keep your email organized and also let it be known that it is a team effort that is managing, not just the individuals. So I'll show you where to access that. So it'll make sense, I'm hoping. So again, up here with our little dots, we go down here to our groups. And our groups give me the emails of who we are. We have different ones. So we have ERC, you know, which is going to make up a bunch, you know, a couple of us that are all part of that. You know, we have the onboarding, which is going to go to like a select few, but also the different clients, they'll have their own. So like you will have the same situation within your classroom, and then you will create your group, create the name. So this could be webinars at, or sorry, webinars at honestbook.com, and go through and add based off of your settings. So you're gonna have to go through there and make adjustments on who can search for this group. Obviously, you can make this as private as you want. So this can be just an internal, or you can have it be external and make it available for other people outside, you know, your center. You know, parents can access this, you know, who can join the group, again, based off of your security settings, your privacy settings. Go in there and look at them all and see and test it based off of what will work for you based off of, again, your needs. And you can adjust the security of who can view things. But what's nice about this is that we can access, you know, if we need to, we have a way to go back and access, oh, I was waiting on a PIN code, and I can go back to the group. So even though this might be this is the team, it's not a monitored email, but is still available. So we are not losing access to any of the conversations. They're always going to be available.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're almost done here with our fun tips. Let me see here my.
So I think one thing I want to mention is,
yeah,
like you said, we started using Google about a year and a half ago, Google Workspace, and I was very hesitant about it because I don't personally like Google for personal email. I find it not my favorite. But we really, you know, when we looked at everything that was available, it just really stacked up higher than anything else for like the price. Cause, you know, I think you might be talking about this, but like we use Google Meets for our meetings, which eliminates the cost of having a Zoom account because we don't need to necessarily like have it for everyone who's having client meetings. They can use Google Meets, which is great. So it just kind of gave us a lot more. But I would say like one thing that would have hindered me from making that change was just the like overwhelm of moving to Google Workspace, but we actually found a consultant that was extremely reasonably priced who did the entire migration for us. So got our you know, honestbuck.com set up with Google Workspace, got our emails from where we were in Zoho over into Google Workspace, like brought in all of the, you know, our previous emails so we didn't lose anything, just really set all of that up. So I do want to just like, I'm going to put in the chat like who we used. Like I said, you know, it's a year and a half ago. It was pretty reasonably priced. I mean, and I'm not getting anything out of like providing this other than just like, I know that that's sort of when people are thinking about whether they want to switch, the work involved is a lot of it. And so, you know, just kind of providing that, you know, resource of somebody who can like take care of that for you so that it's a really simple switch if you're using a different system.
Yeah, exactly. There's some things you should just outsource, you know, that
Yes.
whenever anybody asks us for like, our advice and, often, and even like during the workshop, it was really neat hearing them ask different things. And it was literally, well, what kind of purpose does it serve you now versus later? And balancing that, like how much energy is it really going to be worth for you to try to do it all your own? Well, let's go
Right.
ahead and talk about Google Meet since you segued that. Um, when I had showed the calendar setup, what's nice about that is it pops up, it has the ability, the Google Calendar has the ability to sync with Google Meet. And if you are paying for Zoom, you can actually have it attached with that as well. We use Google Meet. It's a lot easier. Again, going by the populace is familiar with Google, no different than Microsoft, but it is, the more cost effective for our needs, and for majority of the people that would need to use it. So with Google Meet, it's super simple setup. If you are familiar with Zoom, you're going to like Google just simply because the whole layout is actually a lot nicer. Um, let's see if I can even try to do this. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right. So share screen. Back to this one again. So this is, like I said, this is my main dashboard on what I use. And so I have quick access to my calendar. I have quick access to my tasks. So if there was something in my email that I needed to make sure that I added, or I need to double check, I can add that as a task. So I've got, my quick access points over here on my right, and over on the left, I have access to the Google Chat, which is how I can quickly communicate with any member of our organization. And also we can create different spaces. So basically real-time group chats. So no different than the group emails, we now have a group chat. So it just makes the access a little bit faster, especially when we have a bunch of us that are working at the same time. Our email inboxes are already inundated, except for mine, obviously, because I'm just that special. But anyway, the Google Meet is right over here to the left under space. So when I click on that, I have, well, this is my meeting tomorrow with our internal operations manager, and you can set up one. So if you have anything that's going to be showing up, so this is my meetings for the next day, for tomorrow, and any other future ones that will pop up on here. But you can also just generate one, just do a new meeting that just pops up, that is very similar to how you do it with your Zoom. And it's probably going to do backfeed, but then once you establish a meeting's going to happen, my word of advice is to make sure you actually join the meeting. There's many times we have sent like, hey, can you pop in on this? And it's like, yeah, and we send the link and then we forget to join our own meeting. So joining is very simple. See if it'll let you do. It's going to say, oh, there it is. It's going to be in forever. But everything can be set up very similarly. You can mute your video. Yeah, you can turn off your camera. You can mute your audio. If you have a headset, you can adjust that. And this also has the ability of doing fun backgrounds as well. And so, that's just another fun way to jazz up a meeting, if you'd like, but also gives the ability for joining with audio. I can't remember what the limitation is on the number of those that can participate, but typically, we don't have any issues when we have our meetings and have our big gatherings, and
Yeah, I was gonna
you
say, I
can
think we've had
share.
like 35 people on it before with no issues. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great thing. And then of course there are some apps that we'll highlight with a follow-up with this. We've been using Tactiq, TACTIQ, as an accessory to our Google Meets to help with translating or transcribing everything that we're saying. It's great AI that works, again, very well, integrates with your Google Meets, and provides you with a transcript that you can save for when you are communicating with parents. When you're doing an employee interview, you have something that you have to fall back on, which has just been really good, because sometimes we think we say things and we don't really say it right. And so
There's been a few times where I'm like, I swear I talked to them about this, and I'll go back to the transcript. And I'm like, nope, I
I
can't find where I said that at all. So, yep, bad,
we
bad
we
on
all
me.
have that where we wrote out the text but forgot to hit send. So one last one that I will highlight, if you haven't already checked out, Google Voice is a great way that you can connect, where you can have it synced with let me try this again, one number that's not your own number. So if you have your own personal cell phone, but you don't have the ability or the financial capability to add another one, because who really wants to have two phones on them all that time? Google Voice will work with your phone, and you can actually use it from your computer too. So we will have another session in December, I know, where we're going to kind of like recap some of these fun things. So I can pull out some more information about Google Voice. But it's great. It's very similar to the Google Groups, is that you can have everybody connected on that same number, so it can pop up with
Well,
the trans.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
it also just gives you a way to kind of mask your personal information. I know, like, that's one thing. Like, I generally, don't want to get a bunch of like business text, because text is not the best way to like talk to me. Like, I tend to forget a text as soon as I've read it. And then I also just don't really want to give out my personal phone number. And what's nice is something like Google Voice, you can download it onto your phone and you can give that number out. And then, like, you're on vacation or it's after hours, you can like disable it and kind of be able to create that separation between work and life, which I think is so important.
It is that, and the fact that you can literally be able to be like, you can snooze that
Mhm.
until it is time for you to actually focus on it,
Yeah.
which is important. So that is pretty much everything that we wanted to share, that we were like, you guys have to hear this. We do have, if you haven't already heard, we do have our next webinar, which is Monday, October 9th. This is a really good one. If you were able to participate in last month, we talked about setting your tuition based off of your costs. So we are going to follow up in October with categorizing your expenses by keeping it simple. We're going to talk about the 4 buckets of expenses. We're going to talk about why it's important to use these 4 buckets, and what it is going to explain to you, and how you're going to be able to use this for figuring out your KPIs, for figuring out if you're top heavy, and maybe you need to readjust some thoughts and some things. So that is on Monday, October 9th, same time, 7:30 East Coast, 4:30 if you're on the West Coast. We appreciate having you on board with us every month. So thank you. Have a great
Thank
one.
you. Bye.